Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is the second installment video of many more to come in some of the recipes that I want to share with you with the upcoming release of Cacao Addict. This isn't exactly a recipe from the book, but it's a little variation of it anyway. I'm all about food that can be healthy for you. So like a nutrient dense, small amount that's going to fill you up through the day. It's going to have some amazing superfoods in there. It's going to have some food grade essential oils in there. Of course, raw cacao. Maple syrup, coconut oil, bit of salt, and lots of love. So come over here, I'll show you what I'm going to do and talk about some of the different ingredients I'm going to add into the concoction and why they mean what they do to me. So what I first put in here are cacao, let me just turn that up a little bit, cacao butter, so they actually can come conveniently in these little buttons and they melt really, really quickly. You can buy various cacao from lots of different places in lots of different ways, but I find that the little buttons like this are super easy. They melt so quick. But if you want to just come over here for a minute to show our European friends, this is a company that we sourced off Amazon Prime called 7 Hills. So I get my powder, the cacao butter, and also the cacao paste as well from there. So yeah, just to show you those, that's a European one. For Aussies, we've got lovingearth.net, all one word, or if you're Perth people, go and see Craig at Weigh and Pay, Woodvale Weigh and Pay as well. Right, so that is melting away beautifully there. Into that, I'm just going to put in some coconut oil. I've got 1/4 cup, my little trusty measures from Australia. So putting that into that. For this recipe to work, and for this to achieve what you want to achieve, it really has to have these two portions melted. So that's what they're doing right there. So coconut oil, where's my little coconut oil? Right here. This is one that I've sourced from Italy. So for a little Italian lesson, this is olio di coco. Really, when you're buying coconut oil, you want to get the stuff that's like virgin, first pressed, good quality, organic. If it's really cheap, it's probably going to be cheap and nasty. So spend that extra bit of money and fork out on a really good quality, extra virgin coconut oil. Stuff that smells like a tropical holiday. Love it. So this is what you need in your chocolates. Don't substitute for cheap and nasty stuff, guys. Go the real deal. So you can see that this is beginning to melt. Now the method that I'm doing here is just a saucepan with a little bit of water on the heat, medium heat. And I've got the water in the bottom, obviously simmering. Now you'll notice that the bowl is covering the saucepan, so you do not want to get any water inside the bowl because that can really dramatically affect the chemistry of the chocolate. The water can throw the whole thing out, it's really bad. So once these are all melted, we can start adding in some other of these wonderful ingredients. While that's just about to do its thing, come over here for a sec. I've got this little guy from Tupperware, but you can get any silicone molds. You can also get like a baking dish and line it with some greaseproof paper. But what I've got here is a collection. It's about 1/3 cup each of Brazil nuts and 1/3 cup of walnuts. Yes, I'm OCD. You can see that's such a beautiful, beautiful pattern there. Believe me, most of them did fall out like that, but yeah, I adjusted a few. So once I've got everything made, I'm simply just going to pour that all over this beautiful nut collection there, and then when it's set in the fridge, which I'll probably put a photo up of afterwards if we haven't eaten it all by then, I'll show you how it looks. So I'm going to turn the heat off on that because what I'm putting in now is just powders and liquids, and that will just do its thing on its own. So firstly, this is the beautiful cacao powder. So don't add it all in at the one go, sort of do it in installments. So just add a little bit, stir it in till the lumps sort of go away. I'm using a whisk, as you can see. Add a little bit more in, do the same. Because if you add it all in together, you'll probably end up with some lumps in there, and we don't want the lumps. Last bit there. Okay, so I can actually hold it now and get a bit more of a good stir in it.
And it is the longer that you stir it, the smoother the chocolate as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Noel, our cameraman, by the way, that booming voice you can hear from above you. That's exactly right. The longer you stir it, the more silkier and the more smooth the chocolate batter gets, which we love. And more flavours released as well, isn't it? More beautiful flavour.
And there's some of the chocolatiers will actually conch or stir for 2 days, won't they? Or
Yeah,
longer.
a couple of days. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now what I'm going to do is, I've got a couple of superfoods I want to add today. Now, this is probably one of my favourite additions. This is called Lucuma. It's from Loving Earth, one of my favourite companies on this planet. They're so beautiful. They source everything sustainably. They go to the countries where the fruit or the plant grows native, a lot like doTERRA. In this instance, it comes from Peru and from parts of South America as well. They call this gold of the Incas. It's a beautiful golden kind of colour. It gives it a bit of a citrus note as well, but it's also got heaps of fibre, heaps of different minerals and vitamins in there as well, and it's just really lovely. There's a lot of good little things that it tells you there. Carbohydrates, fibre, vitamins and minerals. Perfecto. Now, a pinch of salt, because I believe that salt goes good in chocolate. It just brings out the flavour of chocolate. So this is just a little pot that I've made up of pink Himalayan salt. So just put that in there. Any normal salt has got a lot of treatment done to it, whereas I believe Celtic sea salt, Australian sea salt, anything that hasn't had a lot of refinery done to it is good. Now, what I wanted to showcase in this particular recipe is I'm using coconut milk here. That's available from most health food stores or Chinese stores, like Chinese food stores. This is a bit of a vegan version of a milk chocolate. So I'm putting in a half a cup of that, and it just takes away, if I didn't do this, this would predominantly be almost like 100% cacao, because I'm using full cacao butter, I'm using full cacao powder, so it's going to be quite a strong one. But if I put a half a cup of the coconut milk in, it changes that to be like I don't know the exact proportion, but it's probably like a 60% cacao. So I'm just going to stir that in and see that it just lightens it up a little bit, and it makes the flavour so smooth. It's quite a lovely thing. See how that's changed the batter, the consistency? It's actually quite firm now. That will come back again once I put the maple syrup in. So in Italian, this is sciroppo d'acero, which means we're learning our Italian, and it also just means maple syrup in Italian. I'm going to put 1/4 cup in this. All right, a little bit extra because we always love a bit more extra maple syrup, right? And take this away from here for a moment, because that's actually really quite warm. And I'm going to swap positions here for a moment. Thank you. Yeah, I have that tea towel. Great stuff. That's stirring in beautifully. All right. Another thing I want to add to this particular recipe is hemp protein. If you can get your hands on hemp protein, a lot of it comes out of Canada. Australia is finally getting it together and getting some hemp products in as well. It is one of the best vegetarian protein sources you can get out there. I'm talking a scoop, which is, I'm going to use just a little bit under a full scoop, is like 20 grams of protein, which is huge. Normally you need quite a lot more to get protein. This is what it looks like. Great green color here.
Check on the side.
Can you see that?
Turn on the side. No, this on the side.
Right, I'm just going to sprinkle that in there like that. It's a great green colour as well, which is fantastic. So that's your protein source right there. And last but certainly not least, these are the 2 oils that I'm going to be using today. We've got doTERRA cardamom, which is sourced from Guatemala. And we've got the wild orange, doTERRA wild orange, which is from the Dominican Republic and now Brazil. I'm going to be putting about 8 drops of orange in there. Oh, I think 9 snuck out.
You can never have too much orange, right?
No, definitely not.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to put just 2 of cardamom in, because cardamom's quite a strong one. You don't want it to be
You can certainly
overpowered.
have too much cardamom.
Yes, that's exactly true. You can certainly have too much cardamom. So just think of all that combinations there. We've got hemp protein, which is going to give you a nutrient-dense protein fix throughout the day with your chunk that you're going to have. You've got your good fats of your coconut oil and your coconut butter. Your coconut oil and your coconut milk, which is good for the brain, good for the heart, good for the everything. You've got your maple syrup. Yes, it is a sugar, but it's still a good sugar. You've got your lucuma, which is your vitamins and your minerals, and also you've got the fantastic essential oils for the therapeutic benefits and also the taste. Oh my gosh. And what we do now is just move this away a little bit. Make sure that when you've got your little tray here, you're going to have it on something. So I've got a little slate board there. You could have a bread board, whatever you choose. Tap that off there. I do have a scraper somewhere, but that's okay. And just a light, make sure you keep it all together. A light pour. Just a smudge, that's a little technical term. Smudge around so everything is covered. It doesn't matter, folks, if nuts move around when you've done this, it's really not going to matter so much. This is all going to solidify beautifully in the fridge and it's all going to come together amazingly. And because I never like to waste chocolate, I do have a little duvallaki in here. It's a little rubber silicone scraper. Get everything out that you possibly can because you don't want to waste any of that. There we go. Make sure that's all smooth. Now what you're going to find is, that's it. That's as easy as it is. Once that sets, it's going to be easy to chop up into little chunks and you can have that to have. So voila, a really quick, easy, I guess you could call it a milk chocolate, but without being a too full, intense cacao flavour with the coconut milk. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Ciao.